All right, I'm doing it. I'm figuring this thing out. Getting a good late start today. I'm trying to Monday is a day off for my tattoo work, and so it's one of the main days I really want to do this art stream. But it's also summer vacation. I'm bringing my kid into the studio, um, and so things get a little bit of a late start. Haven't been getting to bed at the time I ought to be, but we're figuring it out. We're getting it. But I'm here. I'm here. I'm doing it. We're doing the thing. And again, so I'm Levi Smith, and this is my art stream. I'm just going to draw a thing. I have no idea what that's going to be. I don't know how it's going to go, how this is going to turn out. We're just going to do this live, say for about a half an hour, regardless of how far I get or don't with the drawing, and we're just going to go from there. So yeah, let's mess around with this. I'm gonna turn off the camera, and we're just gonna draw for a bit. So, man, I really have no idea. So, when I don't know what to draw, I just usually go to my fallback, and that is a skull. So we could just build a little egghead here. This be kind of boring. And let's explore a little bit here. Let's do let's sketch out just a basic kind of shape. Just sticking to the real basics. I just want it to be kind of recognizably as a skull. Something like this. Oh, you know what I haven't done in a while is a Ghost Rider. Oh, okay. Okay, so we are going to we're gonna draw Ghost Rider. Classic, kind of a classic Ghost Rider. Not any of the cosmic varieties for sure. I always did like the classic Ghost Rider the most, I suppose. The Johnny Blaze style, maybe in a little bit more of like a 90s art style. I don't know. Part of that too is I'm sure, well, honestly, I think my absolute favorite version of Ghost Rider is Ghost Rider 2099. That being the cybernetic style Ghost Rider, completely in like a cyborg robot type body, built by some AIs hiding in the internet, where they save hacker kid's consciousness. He downloads himself into the net, his mind, his body dies. They build him like a Terminator body, and then download his mind into the Terminator body, basically. And then he's got his motorcycle, little fuel injectors and stuff around his neck and everything that ignite and create the fire. It's pretty cool. It's all covered in graffiti and stuff, because sometimes the AI will summon his consciousness, and so his body will just shut down wherever it happens to be, in an alley or something. And people find it. It's basically indestructible, so they just tag it up. They just graffiti it. It's pretty wild. So I don't know what Man, I don't know what's going on here. I think I've got a much more Spider-Man-y kind of body here. Much more lithe, not quite so bulky. Maybe except for this arm, geez. Let's see, we can do that. Bring it out here. This is kind of not really exciting pose. It's the Spider-Man with the Ghost Rider powers. Isn't that just kind of Spawn? Man, I'm not sure where I'm going with all of this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Do that. We're gonna bring this arm down here. This leg is bent up. We got our knee. Hey, you know, sometimes this is just the way it goes. This is just the direction that things go. So this, let me just clean up a couple things real quick here. This is interesting. This is interesting. I wonder. Let's see here. The head's a bit big for the size of the shoulders. So one of the powers of digital drawing here is that we can just shrink this head. I'm actually going to cut it off into its own little layer. I can move it just a bit. I like that. I like that. And I do not know what my thing has been lately, but I definitely have had a thing for Skeletor. And so, could this be Skeletor? Could this be kind of a this? Some crossbones here. Now, I'm not looking at any reference, so this is definitely not going to be a super accurate Skeletor. In fact, I go a little Dr. Doom with this Skeletor. I think we're kind of already going that direction as far as the pose. Brain. Put some kind of goat skull kind of kneecap here. If that's a goat skull. It is a non-human kind of skull, and that will work just fine. One of the things that I really, really loved about, you know, as a kid, and well, even still to this day, about like fantasy artwork, fictional characters, a lot of science fiction and stuff, is that really, you know, you can just kind of make it up. You know, there's a lot of room for creative interpretation of things. No one can tell you drew your Thragtusk wrong, unless they know what a Thragtusk is. That's a thing. But when you're making it up, however you draw it, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. And everybody else has to do whatever it is you pulled out of whatever dark hole in your body you find your ideas. Alright, so if we do, maybe it would make sense for his hand to be here if, okay, there kind of needs to be like an armrest. Makes sense for the armrest to be here unless the cloak kind of tucks in. So it comes out like this. Do a kind of triangular here. Like some Emperor Palpatine kind of action. Yeah, so now if he was wearing more high-tech armor, interesting thing here. Nice little shorthand for placements as far as shoulders and the pectoral muscles, especially on male figures, is that those the shoulder line, the armpit, the pectoral muscles will all kind of come together in one line there. Do a little center line, a little bit of space here. We can kind of discover where our rib cage is. And that can be really important for figuring out the waist. That can be helpful for costuming. That can be helpful for movement dynamics. Just to know what parts twist and what parts generally do not. Alright, so like this. One of the things I'm doing right now here with all this, as it gets a little bit more dense with the scribbles and stuff, is I'm just exploring. I'm not worried about, I may or may not keep these spikes. I may or may not keep some of these elements. I'm already thinking that my crossbones up here on the chest are going to go much higher, and I'll even just scribble up a little bit higher. And you notice I'm not even worried about erasing anything, especially not at this point. I'm just exploring. I'm just pushing things around. If I put this a little bit higher up, make sure that things are falling on my center line. I think, alright, so here's my head with the ice cream cone. We have eye socket, nose socket, cheekbone, teeth, jaw, teeth. Now, one of the things about all of this scribbling is that well, I like to edit. I like to modify. I like to build. I basically like to kind of sculpt with lines, and maybe that makes a little bit more sense, kind of like watching it happen, because I will just put down the most basic of a shape in the area where I think I need to put it, but without too much fussing. And then I modify it. I adjust. I move it over. I move it, and I do all this without erasing any of the lines. I do all this without fussing or creating a whole bunch of layers. Like okay, so that's here's the one layer. Here's the next layer. And now, and one of the reasons why I will kind of go from this stage to the next stage is, honestly, like, that head looks pretty cool there. So I don't like where this head is going. And so where the options that gives me now is I can just do this. And man, if this isn't still, so I have here to here. It's gonna put, my head really goes to about here. And so I'll go back down here. I'll just erase some of this. Over here. Alright, let me go up here. Now I'm going to do this quite a bit more in an angular fashion. And do things more triangular here. Do this. I can just explore this. If I don't like this, if I'm not feeling it, okay, here. All these three lines should all be parallel. And then his teeth should be parallel with this eye line. And the cheeks should also be parallel. So it comes out down that far. Bring it down just a little bit more out here. Okay, do that. Give this plane here on the side. This plane. Define these brows a little bit more. That nose bridge area. A couple dashes in here for some teeth. Bring this straight down. Yes, much more aggressive. Connect that in with the rest of his body. So if we had a Skeletor with his hood down, he's just kind of chilling. Maybe he's dozed off. Maybe he's thinking about how he will destroy He-Man. Alright, and then, okay, I just want to check the throne is part of this other layer here. And I'm just going to build another layer. I'm going to, first here, just shapes. I really liked in Doctor Strange, that cloak of damned souls that version of Doctor Strange wore with all the arms sticking out everywhere and stuff. And so I'm just gonna work out. Almost kind of do like a Game of Thrones kind of. Throne here. So except this will be a throne of bone. Center a bit here. Come on. There you go. Getting a little slow. Come on, buddy. You don't crash on me, eh? Just confirm it from here. Huh? Oh my goodness. Oh well, my tablet is deciding to be a little junky, a little slow. Maybe it was trying to do a backup, a recovery backup in the midst of me trying to transform and move 3 layers at one time. All right, so this isn't too bad. I don't mind where this is. So I'm going to drop all these layers into one. I'm going to drop the opacity, make a new layer. And then I think I'm just going to, we've only got a little bit of time left. And you know, I mean, from just having no idea, and then to going into a skull, and then that kind of inspiring, like, ooh, the Ghost Rider thing, and then thinking maybe like a Ghost Rider 2099, and then it really started kind of like looking like it was going to be like a good like Skeletor look to a maybe doing a future cybernetic-y kind of Skeletor. I mean, that's totally not out of character for that franchise. You know, you got Man-at-Arms, you got Ram-Man, you got Trapjaw, you got Mechanic. I mean, so much cybernetics in He-Man, it's ridiculous. But yeah, so I think to just go into this, just happy to manage to draw this guy. Alright, one of the things with stuff like this is just trying to make sure that there are parallel elements. Otherwise things will feel squished. Uneven. And while a casual observer may not always necessarily understand why they think that something looks off, they'll know that it looks off. Especially with images, especially the stuff that we're super duper familiar with. This is one of the things that makes drawing hands so hard. One of the things that makes drawing faces a challenge, especially recognizable faces. You know, because the casual observer knows when a hand is drawn wrong. We know, our brain knows what a hand looks like. We have hands. We use hands. Hands are a really important part of culture, part of our physiology. You know, they're just important. You know, bring this out, and so they're highly recognizable. We do know what a hand looks like. We know when a hand looks wrong. And hands are really complicated as far as like the morphology, the shaping, the construction, the structure, the movement, the mechanics. Man, so where did I bring this chart out a little bit more? I don't like that. See, the chart to be about there. Do I have too much forehead? I think I still have a little too much forehead. It's one of the things that I end up having to do is like cutting down forehead and stuff here, because I'm always just kind of, even though I use a lot of these mechanical techniques for drawing and stuff, proportions, the egghead, stuff like that, I still often just kind of go off by feel. And that feel can be wrong. That intuition, that instinct. But sometimes, and often enough, I get something that may not be technically correct, but looks cool, or looks cool to me, uh, or communicates better for what I'm trying to go for. Maybe it has, say, like a more aggressive feel, has a softer feel, something that seems more friendly or more threatening. Now that I do a thing here, I didn't switch to an eraser. This is actually just the pencil, the digital pencil. I'm just going to draw out, use this to kind of edit a couple things here. Let me just go back to the black. That makes no sense. Go. Yeah, and so this, I mean, this still isn't even the final shape that this stuff would take, you know. This is still super rough. Not using any inking techniques right now. I'm still not even getting real worried about the actual lines. I'm just trying to dial things in here to get a better sense of where I want to go with it, how it's turning. But there's still plenty of opportunity and room to just change things, you know, to just change direction. I like all that black on the back of his head. That seems kind of cool. So we're going to give, so his collarbone's going to be over here. We can do a little skull here. Kind of Spawn style. Alright, I want this to seem like it's that cloth fabric of his cloak, of his hood. Just kind of pulled down. It's going to bunch up a little bit. Some shadows in here. Some good neck, yeah. He's beefy. They're all beefy on Eternia, right? I think that's boring as hell. But, you know, what can you do here? Alright, yeah, and so, I'm gonna do this. It's just this super generic kind of just gem. Kind of like the ones that we find on all these guys' underwear. Alright. Oh man, I do want to get some, maybe get a little bit of background music, some, you know, obviously like copyright free, a little bit of something to play in the background. Maybe I'll try to find like a nice little assortment of some classical. I like classical. I also especially like classical style rock covers, you know, of course Apocalyptica, the newer group Two Cellos. Oh man, they're great. I really dig that kind of stuff. Strings of the Down, you know, stuff like that. I mean, that reminds me of like Brass Against. Of course, they're lyrical. They're not really classical, but they do use a lot of classical instruments, which is awesome. Alright, so let's chest plate here. This would be cool like this. layered kind of thing here. We'll bring these straps back here like this. I'm wondering if I should do a crisscross from here over his abdomen. Just leave it clear for him to kind of show off his belly, as they are wont to do in Eternia. A lot of interesting cultural fashion tropes going on in this world. But whatever, whatever. It's just who they are. It's their culture. Yeah, I have to give him this. Some bare arms. Cannot infringe upon anyone's right to their bare arms. And go thick. We're taking shape, look at that, things are actually going somewhere. Now this piece will really kind of demonstrate one of the things that I would run into with my original daily sketches. I would run out of a reasonable time to do this, and right about that time is right about when things start getting good. So as it is right now, I am going to just generally wrap this guy up. Pencils down. Yeah. So, excuse me. Let me get a coffee. Coffee? Yeah. Awesome. Excuse me. So that's cool. Yeah. We came up with something. Obviously, he is nowhere near even just this, past this rough sketch stage. He is, the Skeletor. I mean, it's kind of creative. Looking at it now on the screen, up here, the way you're seeing it and stuff, I can see, there's definitely some balance issues and everything. I mean, developmentally, there's still a lot of room to adjust, edit, move things around. But yeah, I think that's pretty good for today. And here we are. This is actually the second live stream that I managed to do here successfully. Yeah, I'm learning a lot. I watched the last one, so I could kind of see my words, my mannerisms, where I'm looking, trying to get a little bit better of an orientation and stuff, so that I can pull off this kind of gesture, referring to these things, versus this, the mirror, which makes more sense to my brain. So I got to do a little bit of training, a little bit of practice, stuff like that. Of course, like and subscribe. Do the YouTube thing. We've got links in the description. We've got a Facebook page. We've got a website. We've got a Patreon page. We've got all those things. This Skeletor piece, I may or may not finish it. If I do, it'll likely be something that'll go up and get posted onto the Patreon page. I don't think I'm going to do anything more public with it. Definitely not going to be working on this for the next art stream. Every art stream, I'm going to be starting from zero. No ideas, no pre-sketches, no reference. And I'm just going to free draw. Trying to keep that a little bit easier on myself, being that, trying to do these in a reasonable time frame, about 30 minutes or so. And this one's going over. So, yeah. Thank you. And we'll see you here next time. Let me figure out how to make things stop.